Hello, martial arts industry. How
Welcome.
are we doing?
Hello, everybody. Welcome back.
Welcome. How about you guys? It's cold in Oklahoma today, though.
It's cold by Florida standards in Florida. It's like a high of 54 degrees, low of 37 tonight, and 4 inches of snow in Tallahassee, from what I understand.
Really?
Yeah.
We're in the single digits in Oklahoma, but just a little bit of snow.
Well, do you have air in the build or heat in the building, Mikey? Because you look freezing.
We do. There is an air conditioner right above me. I cannot figure out how to turn off, so decided to put an extra layer on.
Awesome. Well, we still got people coming in. Very, very excited for the follow-up to the 30,000 students in 30 days and seeing some familiar faces on. If you have the ability to turn your camera on, we'd love to see you. And I'd love to know in the comments, yes or no, did you participate in the 30,000 students in 30 days? Yes or no? See if how many newer people. Seeing a lot of yeses. All right. Keep them coming. Yes or no? Did you participate?
Got some new people. That's good.
Yes. Miss Jordan, thank you so much. Appreciate that. Awesome. All right. Definitely love seeing some new faces in here. Mikey, we were talking right before we started this Zoom. I just think this is the coolest thing, but you're looking a little lean right now. What's going on with that?
Yeah, I'm about to jump in the ring and fight for an MMA fight for local promotion here in Oklahoma. But it's it's for charity, but it's a real fight, and I'm in the middle of my weight cut right now, so I've lost 15 and I've got 15 more to go, unfortunately. So
What are you fighting at, Mikey?
fighting at 145. I feel like a lot of people on here in traditional martial arts schools, part of the reason I'm doing an MMA fight, traditional martial artists are damn good at fighting too, and I intend to and have in the past go out and improve that. So I think I'm going up against some wrestler, MMA, jiu-jitsu kid, and I'm gonna make sure they know that even they learned to do Taekwondo my whole life, that those kicks hurt too.
Wow. And when is it?
It's January 30th, streamed live. I'll send out the link. My social media.
Wow.
Super cool. I love it. All right, guys, I'm going to go ahead and kind of do a little bit of housekeeping before we dive into the meat and potatoes. You're definitely going to need something to take notes with. So grab a pen, grab a sheet of paper, and let me share the screen here. And if everybody can make sure that they are muted, that would be super helpful. Still got a bunch of people popping in. See some AI note takers. Very cool. All right. $1 million in retail in 30 days. Mikey, can you kind of just maybe give a quick overview about how this one kind of popped up? Because we did something pretty cool in October and then, got some feedback, but
yeah,
talk about how this whole thing started.
So we challenged the industry in October. I think it was well received, but the biggest thing we wanted to do was just kind of have a mass enrollment across the United States, but across the world. Try to get as many people as we could involved in martial arts. And then obviously for you guys as school owners, the benefit of that being, how can we give everybody kind of this big push, this momentum to get new students in the door during that month and just see exactly, how many as a group we can sign up. We did incredibly well. I was incredibly impressed with the results. I think that everybody that was a part of it just appreciated. We really came at it with a genuine angle about trying to help everybody involved grow their martial arts school. And some of them, we had people signing up 30, 40 new students in a month of the school. I mean, I was impressed by the numbers that people were putting up and how successful it was. And so during that process, we asked everybody involved, and we put it out there into, I mean, you guys want to do stuff like this more often because, well, it is Mr. Rodriguez and Mr. Mesker's time and my own time. I think it's all well deserved. And these are nuggets of information that Maya's putting out there for us and that are helpful. But it's bite-sized things that we can act on now and in 30 days make a difference in your school and immediately see results. So we called it $1 million. We asked everybody involved, what do you guys want to focus on? They said we'd really like to learn about retail sales. That's kind of what prevailed. And I understand fully that Century is a product company, so everyone's thinking, oh, they're going to totally benefit off this. I think that you guys will find that the information that that we're going to talk about and how they go about it, it's not like we're trying to tell you to stock the pro shop in your martial arts school with all this inventory and buy. That's not how this is going to go. There's going to be nuggets of information here about very targeted ways to get students and parents and everybody involved in your classes on how they can focus in on a specific product or a seminar and things like that. So I won't ruin what we have in store for you, but the collective group, the big, hairy, audacious goal, right, Chris, that's what you say, is
Yes.
in this group of school owners that we're pulling together and the momentum we're hopefully going to throw behind this, can we get you guys to $1 million between this group in retail sales throughout the month in 30 days. So that's the challenge. I hope we see how this plays out. If that happens, I'm going to be extremely, extremely proud of everyone. And we will continue to do these things and continue to ask you guys how we can do a better job, assuming it's of value to everybody involved.
Awesome. Thank you so much, sir, for the overview. And we are going back to back for the next 5 weeks. So please make sure that you have your calendars marked off every Tuesday, 1 p.m. Eastern time, same Zoom link every single time. These first 3 sessions are going to be our training sessions. And then we'll be meeting to offer coaching, accountability, and answer all of your questions that you might have. And if hopefully you have gone ahead and accessed the school platform, this is where everything that you are going to need is going to be inside. There's just a couple of tabs. It's very easy to navigate. It even has a mobile app if you prefer to access it from your phone. But the community basically operates like a Facebook timeline. So as we go through these sessions and in between the sessions, if you have questions, please make sure that you are dropping them in here. When you have wins, we want to celebrate those wins. What we focus on expands. So please share your wins, share your questions. We're going to make sure that we're in here every day answering those for you. In the classroom section, you're going to notice at the top, we have the recordings, assets, and tracking. So the top 3 sections are specific to this challenge. We didn't want to remove the 30,000 students in 30 days recordings and assets. So if you didn't have an opportunity to go through those, you can still access those recordings and everything that came with it. But for this particular challenge, we'll be focused on these top 3. And we already have an asset inside of there. This is a social media graphic that you guys can post on Facebook, on Instagram, and please make sure to tag us so that we can see it and we can reshare those. And then finally, there is a calendar inside of school that has the dates and the times, and you can access the Zoom meetings in there. We'll also send you reminder emails and text messages throughout the course of this. So, Mr. Metzger, I'm going to pass it over to you, and we can dive into today's training.
All right. So one of the things that I tried to make a promise to myself is try to keep this simple. So it's not overwhelming and you guys will go out and execute it. So I want to keep it simple, but you have to understand the why behind why we're talking about retail and why it's so important to your business. In our industry, specifically in the martial arts industry, the majority of us equate success solely, and that's the key word, solely to more students, right? And, I've been consulting schools for over 20 years, well over 20 years now, 25 years. The first question when somebody calls me or comes up to me at an event is I ask, tell me, how can I help? Nobody has ever in the 25 years said, I need help selling more retail. It's never happened, right? What they say is, I need to get more students, or I need to get to 200 students, or I need to enroll at least 20 students a month, or I need, you know, and when you break it down and you start asking the question, they equate that with, at the end of the day, they need more money. They need more revenue, whether it's to keep their doors open, whether it's to hire their student who wants to be an instructor, or whether it's just to make the ends meet and pay your bills, right? So one of the things that we have to understand in this industry, there are 5 profit centers in your business. And it's non-debatable, and it's whether you like it or not, it is what it is. And the 5 profit centers, everything you do in a martial arts school, regardless of style, goes into one of these 5 categories. And that is new students, retention. If you can retain a student 1 month longer, you'll generate more revenue, right? So retention is a profit center. Special events. So if you do a special event, it could be a self-defense seminar where you charge. It could be a parents' night out for kids where you charge. It could be a camp, which is a special event. So special event is an income generator. Upgrades are an income generator, right? And we're not going to get into upgrades, so don't sign off for those of you who think they're evil. It's just the reality of it. And the 5th one is retail. Retail. Now, the key to maximizing success is if you can integrate these things together. And that's where you hear people in any business say the key is to work smarter, not harder. Well, when you can integrate these sales, then you're running on all cylinders to generate more revenue for your school. To give you an example, I just got done doing a webinar for all of our elite clients, literally 12 to 1 Eastern time, and jumped right onto this one. But one of the things that I brought up is, what is our average student value? Meaning, how much revenue are you generating each month with the amount of customers that you have? So for example, if you have 100 students in your school and you're generating an average of $10,000 a month in revenue, then you have $100 average student value. 100 times 100 is 10,000. If you're generating 20,000 a month and your school only has 100 students, well, then it's like a $200 average student value, because with 100 students, you're able to generate $20,000 a month. Does everybody understand that? Okay. Our basic rate, and this is leading into how important retail is. Our basic program, if you join our school, okay, breaks down to $169 a month. Okay. But our average student value with the 9 locations that we own in Orlando, and for the entire year, because I just asked Miss Stephanie Connor in the last meeting, what was our average student value for the year with all 9 locations, which I said in the last webinar, it's important because I didn't pick our best month. I didn't pick our best school. I picked the average of all of our schools and the entire 2024 year. But our average student value was $251. Chris, if you want to, is that what I said? 251? Because I didn't write it down, but I think it was 251. So $251 per person as far as what we generated with the amount of students. So what does that mean to you? And this is to inspire you to really focus. Thank you, Mr. Alvarez. He was on that. So 251. What that means is, take the number 251, multiply it by how many students you have. And if I own that school, that's what we would have averaged for a month for 2024. Because I don't think your school would have been the different school out of the other 9 that we own, right? I mean, we just have a system. So how do you do that? Well, you do that with the 5 profit centers. But we also know from Century Martial Arts that on a per school average, we are, if not the biggest retail client, but certainly in the top 3, if we're not the biggest, as far as how much retail we're buying, right? And it's because of systems in retail. Now, today, I'm going to give you some very, very simple. It's almost like if anybody's ever watched a magic show, you guys can be enamored when you see the magic, but then when the magician says, let me teach you how to do it, you kind of eye roll and you're like, that's it? Really? That's it? Yeah, that's it. I mean, this is simple. The question, though, is, are you going to execute it? Are you going to do it? Because the way you don't sell retail is by spending hours creating the nicest pro shop in your school. That's not what sells retail, okay? Because it becomes a fixture like furniture eventually, where people that are coming in every day, every week, they don't notice your pro shop anymore. So if you do have a pro shop, I would tell you, rotate it every 8 weeks. Change it up just so it looks different. But that's not how you sell retail, okay? So today we're just covering 2 simple things. The next week is the big thing that really is going to push your retail sales. But let me attempt to share my screen. Hold on. Oh, Chris, can you help me? It says only the host can share.
Go ahead and try again, sir.
Thank you, Chris. Okay, here we go. All right. Everyone can see that, yes? Okay, all right. Okay, so the first, very, very simple, everybody. Let me give you this overview. If you do not offer private lessons in your school, I would highly suggest that you do. Now, if you do private lessons, a lot of you may be seeing this right now, saying, well, a 30-minute private lesson, that's not enough. But offer 30-minute private lessons, because if somebody wants an hour, they can just do 2 back-to-back 30-minute private lessons. But 30-minute private lessons brings the cost down and also helps you maximize your time, okay? Now, if you sell private lessons, great. That's an income generator. It's a way to generate income. It's also a way to aid in retention. One of your profit centers. Now, oh, if we can mute everybody, if you can make sure you're muted. Now what we can do is, how can I generate revenue, sell retail, help with retention, and potentially get a new student and maybe even an upgrade by doing a private lesson? Well, this is an example. Do you see this, for example? A WaveMaster is a high ticket item. So some of you may or may not be able to sell a WaveMaster. But what I'm going to try to teach you to do is things that will not cost you money. And it's not going to cost you, it's not going to add any extra work to your day, right? But this is an example. I'm going to go through an example. If this month only, for example, anybody that wants to purchase a WaveMaster to practice at home, you're getting 2 free 30-minute private lessons with the purchase of a WaveMaster. Plus, you can bring 2 family members or 2 friends or 2 whoever to the private lesson with you to work the drills with you. Now, I'm going to obviously sell more WaveMasters than I normally would sell, but maybe not. Let's say maybe not because of the price point, right? And you're like, oh, those are expensive. Great. Well, what if I said, guys, this month only, we only have enough availability for 10 spots. Purchase a hand target and you get a free 30-minute private lesson, which will be scheduled with someone in the front office or with yourself. And it's free. It's just the purchase of the square hand target. Now, if I do a free, and by the way, let's just look at these different ones. Here's a kick target. Here's a kick shield, right? You could do a Muay Thai pad. You could do a weapon if you do weapons in your school. Okay. Now, if you can mute, somebody's not muted. Now, why is this so important to your business? Well, number one, I'm not going to buy stock. Number one, I don't have the money, let's just say, to buy stock. So as people book these and they order their hand target or their shield or their Muay Thai pad or their Wave Master, once it gets in, we'll schedule your free 30-minute private lesson. Or with the higher ticket items, you can make it 2 free 30-minute private lessons. Number one, okay? Number two, once I do a private lesson, depending on the value that you give your customer or your student will greatly depend on how well you do at selling future private lessons that will now start generating extra income, which raises your average student value. Do we force our customers to buy private lessons? Absolutely not. But if you create value and you offer these 30-minute private lessons, you have a much higher chance now of people wanting to do more private lessons. And by the way, here's a shocking number for all of you. We have a client. I've been working with him for almost 15 years. There's a lot of people on here that know this client because he's in our elite program. He averages $50,000 a month in private lessons. Averages. Some of you on here are saying, I don't believe it. How do you do that? And guess what? 15 years ago, when I started working with him and he was averaging $20,000 a month, I didn't believe it. And I said, you need to tell me how you're doing that. And so that's how I have learned about this industry. And what he does is he sells packages, right? So you don't want to, after you do this, the reason why these are all 1 free 30-minute private lessons is because it's with the purchase of equipment. Now, let me bring this back a second here. Hold on, everybody. Let me do this. I need to see you. Listen, you have to understand the psychology of things. All of you lose students. All of you. Nobody signs up students and you just keep them forever and no one quits. You all have an attrition rate. All of you. People that spend money and purchase equipment stay longer. It's a fact. If you have a car and you've been thinking about getting a new car and you're like, you know what, I just didn't get around to it. I want to get a new car. I want to do something. And then something happens where you have to take the car in and they say you need 4 new tires and the new tires are going to cost you $1,500. You're either going to say, you know what, I'm not spending the $1,500 because I want to get a new car anyway. But if you're not ready yet and you spend $1,500 on new tires, you're not getting rid of the car tomorrow. You're going to keep it now a little longer. You just invested $1,500. So if somebody invests in martial arts equipment, they're more apt to stay longer. The other thing is when somebody buys equipment, that's just another reminder at home when they're not in your school. Because we all know the hard part about martial arts isn't like students just want to quit when they're in the middle of the floor training. They decide they want to quit when they're home and it's time to get back to your school. And they say, I don't want to go, right? We want them to have the equipment there. We want their friends to pick up the equipment if they're kids and start messing around with the equipment, right? So if you can get people to purchase equipment and you tie that in with a free private lesson, you're going to start selling more retail. And I don't know everyone's schedule, right? Maybe you're an owner operator and you only can do 5 private lessons a month. Maybe that's all you have time for on a Saturday, right? One Saturday a month, maybe you do 2 30 minutes, but you only have 5. You will sell out of all 5 if you did this. And if you did a Muay Thai pad or a kick shield or a square hand target, you'll sell 5 square hand targets every single month to students for the free private lesson with you as their instructor, because the value seems so much better to the student. And you also will get a percentage of those people that will want to buy a package from you. So just a bonus for you guys, if you buy one 30-minute private lesson, it's X amount of dollars. And I'm not going to get into what to charge because it depends what you charge monthly and everything else, but it's this. But if you buy a pack of 3, then each private lesson comes down to this. It's a little cheaper. If you buy a pack of 6, it's $5 less per lesson. If you buy a pack of 12, it's $5 less per lesson. But you bought a pack of 12 all up front. That's how you start generating a lot of extra revenue. And by the way, the great thing about buying a package of private lessons, everybody, is there is no expiration date. So if somebody did buy a pack of 12, and let's say they use 6 of them, and they quit, the holidays came, summer came, they went on vacation, they traveled, and they just didn't come back, and you're calling them and you're saying, we're back, guys. How come we haven't seen you? Oh, we're taking a break. We're taking a break. You keep trying to inspire, motivate them, but it's not working. What's your follow-up now? Now your follow-up is, hey, Mrs. Johnson, I just wanted to remind you, you still have 6 private lessons. And if Johnny, or if it's an adult, if you want to come in, remember, we're honoring those. You bought them. They don't expire. So do you want to schedule a one-on-one? Maybe you want to bring a friend with you to do the private, but you still have some left. You have a much higher chance of getting a reactivation. So when we tie retail in as a mechanism to get us private lessons and to sell more retail, it's called disguising repetition. You'll get more people to do private lessons than if you just start marketing private lessons by saying they're free with the purchase of blank, the weapon or the Muay Thai or whatever you want to do. Okay. For you jiu-jitsu schools, you could sell a grappling dummy and offer 2 free privates with it, or 4, whatever you think the value is, depending on the price point. Okay. So that's privates, private lessons. Okay.
Before you get off that, you do have 2 questions, Mr. Metzger. You got somebody was asking, what happens when you have clients that want to bring guests or want to have a private with more than one person? How do you handle that?
Yeah, I think so. Let's answer that question. I think it's phenomenal because I only have a higher chance of getting new students when they bring a guest. However, if they're bringing a current student to do a private lesson, okay, you can decide, because I've seen both. There's not a right or wrong. It just depends on what your ultimate goal is. If the private lesson is $50, I'm making this up, for a 30-minute private, you or your instructor is still going to get that $50 into the business, but do you want to allow the 2 students to split it 25 and 25? I like that idea because for me, it's a retention tool and I'm going to keep them longer, which is worth more to me than some schools that say, well, 2 people is not $50. It's $80 for 2, 50 for 1 or 80 for 2. I don't need the extra $30. I'd rather more synergy, more retention, and let them split it to bring the price point down and then try to sell them a package to where I have income coming in, guaranteed income for a longer time. If it's a non-student, no problem. I'm not charging anything. I'm going to hopefully get a new student from that. So I think it's great. And then let's see, what's the other question here? So do you sell private lessons to potential students as well as current? Yes. Yes, you should absolutely. Listen, when you're enrolling somebody, you should absolutely pre-frame and let them know that we do have a lot of students that like to supplement their training with private lessons. And we have a lot of students that will like to get a private lesson once a month Some of our students like to do it once a quarter or before a belt graduation. So this is our menu. These are our packages. It's just part of the welcome kit. And by the way, Mr. and Mrs. Johnson, we also do private instruction training as well for people who just want private lessons. Now, your private lessons for non-members should 100% be more money than your current members. Your current members are paying you a monthly fee, so they get a little discount on your private lesson prices. And you guys can set those. Again, it's not a blanket statement for everybody on what you should charge. Okay. All right. Now let's just jump to this one more tip. And this is how simple it is. This is how simple it is. One more tip for you guys until next week, which is very exciting. All right. Hold on, everybody. Okay. Next. Oh, here we go. All right. Just like your private lessons, okay, private lessons are for one student, maybe two, right? If you want more masses involved, we do seminars, just like the private lesson. We'll do seminars. So for example, this happens to be a free square hand target seminar, right? We're doing a free seminar. It's a 90-minute seminar. We only have 30 spots available, 40 spots available, whatever it is, okay? But it's free with the purchase of the square hand target, or, for example, a blocker, okay? Or, let's see, or a weapon, right? Purchase the weapon, and we're doing a free 90-minute seminar. Now, you guys see these graphics, so you have an idea and understand the concept here. It doesn't matter what the retail item is, but let me give you some pro tips here. Let me bring this back because you don't need to stare at the flyers here. All right, here's the deal on this. In this case, we will have some stock. I may order 20 square hand targets or targets or Muay Thai pads or whatever. And if you don't have the budget, then don't. You still need to buy maybe 5, and we will put them on a table. We will put them on a table. And we say, we're doing a free 90-minute seminar, but you have to sell it. So for example, I'm not going to say we're doing a free 90-minute square hand target or Muay Thai pad seminar. That doesn't get my emotions going too much. But if I said to you, we're doing a free 90-minute Muay Thai pad seminar, and we're going over 10 different ways to generate speed and power, and we're going to have a printout for everybody that attends, and a link with each technique that we're going to teach, so you have this forever to practice. How many of you want to come to that free seminar? Raise your hand. This is what I'm doing with my students. Raise your hand if you want to come to the free 90-minute event. Well, guys, it's free, but over there on the table, you see we have some Muay Thai pads. It's free with the purchase of a Muay Thai pad. So when you purchase the Muay Thai pad, you need that, guys, for the seminar. Plus, you're going to need that to practice at home. The seminar is free, but it's while supplies last. So make sure you grab one off the table and purchase your target, whatever that is, whatever retail item you're selling. Now, if I have 5 on the table and 3 of them, 4 of them get bought, I'm reaching under the table and I'm putting 4 more out on top of the table, right? But there is a limit depending on how big your mat space is. And you can say to everybody, by the way, anybody that purchases the pad, not only is your seminar free, but you can bring a non-martial arts student friend with you to class, so you have somebody to practice with in the class and also when you're at home. And there's no charge. you can bring a friend or a family member with you to practice with. And now, guys, you're doing an intro class with your non-student that's attending this seminar. Now, if you go, now with these seminars, I would do at least one of these per quarter. That's 4 a year. That's 4 a year. And everybody on here should be able to get double digits to participate in this. And I say that because some people on here may only have 40 students or 30 students. If you're a school over 100 students, you should be getting 20 to 30 signed up if you have 100 or more students on these kind of things. You're going to generate more retail revenue for yourself. You're going to generate better retention for yourself. And you potentially are going to generate, if you do it the way I'm telling you to do it, more new students for yourself from just doing a 90-minute seminar once every 3 months. So those are the beginnings of the retail kickoff and how you can do this and systemize this to where you're going to start selling more retail than ever and watch your retention get better and ultimately your revenue start to get better, not just from the retail item itself, but from retaining your students longer and then also getting potential new students. So there's the sneak behind the curtain. And we started off with the most simple thing. The thing that I'm going to go over next week with all of you is something that you're going to be doing every single day that's going to be generating retail sales. And that the stuff next week is what pushes us over the edge on retail revenue. You know, I know Mikey doesn't have it, but if I were to ask him, hey, can you tell me how many square hand targets did I buy last year? It's in the thousands of square hand targets. If I were to ask all of you, how many square hand targets did you sell last year? The majority of you are going to say 0. The majority of you. And by the way, whatever the target is, right? But some might say, well, our system doesn't do square hand targets. But the point is I know the industry and we're just not selling retail like we should be. And again, here's the best part. It is not mandatory. So I want you to make sure you understand that. We're not like telling our students they got to start buying all this stuff. This is just creating value and an option for our customers to make their training more exciting, more fun, and it's a win for the student and it's a win for your business. Let me answer some of these questions. Oh, that's a great point, Ms. Chapman. And Ms. Chapman, she's been in the elite program for, gosh, I want to say over 15 years probably. But what she said was, and this is a great point, when you do these private lessons or these seminars, you can, during the seminar, say, okay, now I want everybody to grab a second target, right? So they bought one, but now grab one of ours. Everybody use a second. We're going to do some drills with 2. By the way, as you see, we had used targets, used Muay Thai pads that we used. There's 6 of them that I have. If anybody wants to buy the second target, being that they're used, you get 35% off, first come, first serve for anybody who wants to get that second target, being that we used. And as you can see, they're perfectly great. They work great. They're just a little beat up because these are the ones from the school. So now we'll give 35% off to anybody who wants to buy that second target, which allows me now to re-outfit my school with brand new targets and equipment. So great point, Ms. Chapman. Yes, Mr. Hurtado, I will post those again. The student that makes the purchase, they get one 90-minute seminar, printout, link to the technique taught, and the studio gets revenue retention and possibly a new student is what they get, because that you're allowing them to bring a friend. Okay, if they bring a friend, they can gift it to the friend. They can, 100%. What do you recommend to charge for private lessons per half hour? Well, that's the tough part. If you're a school that's charging like $60 a month, your private lesson price may be different than a school that's charging $200 a month. So I really can't just blanket statement answer that question. You know, I will tell you that 35 years ago, I was paying $60 an hour for private lessons 35 years ago. Should you be charging more 35 years later? Well, inflation would tell you should. But again, some of our industry, we didn't move our pricing. So I can't tell you necessarily what to charge unless we jumped on the phone and I get an idea of what you're charging, you know, as far as rates, and have you ever charged for privates and what do you do? Remember this though, whatever you charge for a one-off private, if you start selling packages, we deduct $5 per lesson for every time you purchase a higher package. So factor that in. So the way to start is by offering 1, 3, 6, and 12 packages. You could buy one, you could buy a pack of 3, a pack of 6, or a pack of 12. The gentleman that I work with, he offers 1, 20, no, 1, a pack of 1, a pack of 10, a pack of 20, and a pack of 50 privates. And he has a clientele that he has built up that purchase a pack of 50 privates. And some of these people are doing privates 3 and 4 times a week. And when they run out, they purchase another pack of 50. And he has private lessons and an entire staff that their job is just a private lesson instructor. And they go from 2 p.m. to 10 p.m. every day, 2 to 10 private lessons. So he has the facility for that and everything else. I'm just saying, don't try to match and do 50,000, 600,000 a year in private lessons. But wouldn't it be nice to be able to do 50,000 a year in private lessons for some of you smaller school owners? Okay.
Mr. Messer, I think we get nuggets of facts here too. Just found out you sold 1,732 square hand targets in the last 12 months.
There you go. So did anyone else purchase? Now, let's be fair. I have 8.5 schools because I opened a 9th school this year, right? So what was it, 1,732?
Yes.
All right. So that's an average of 203 divided by 8.5 schools, 203 square hand targets per location. Some of you on here may have purchased 203 square hand targets last year, but I can tell you that it's not more than 5 of you or 3 of you on here, if any of you, right? So that's just square hand targets, right? So $1,732 multiplied by whatever the margins are, and that's just square hand target retail. It adds up, everybody. It adds up. So let's see, what else did we have here? What does Championship Martial Arts charge for private lessons? Our monthly rate is $169. Mr. Lockett, also Elite and CMA, he sold 350 packs last year. And then Mr. Nebkin charges $46 for a 30-minute private. I want to say it's $50 for a 30-minute private. But remember, it gets as low as like $35 or something for a pack of 50 for a 30-minute private. And I'm not sure because we've changed our rates around last year. And Mr. Lockett, $50 for 1 lesson. So there is some information. I just want to make sure, Mikey or Chris, did I miss any questions? I don't think so. Is the extra, okay. Oh, it's the extras that give families who want more something to look forward to. Would you build in complimentary gear if a student reaches a mile marker, like hit 3 months, get a blank, hit 6 months, earn into the regular membership? No. Mr. Bamberg's good to see you. No, we don't. Here's the other mistake everyone makes in our industry. You ready? Mikey, this is important for you to listen because it's good to know your competition. But the majority of you on here give away a uniform or a new student package when someone enrolls in your school. And I always ask, well, which company do you get your free equipment from? Anybody want to share that company? Okay. Because I don't get free equipment. I got to purchase my uniforms. Why do you give away free uniforms? And that sounds harsh, but we're going to talk about this next week. And by the way, we do give away free uniforms. There's trial offers. I mean, but I'm gonna make sure that I teach you guys a way to generate more retail without making your customers feel like you're nickel and diming them or pulling a fast one. You're not. You're not. Okay. And so I want, you know, look, the reason why, Mikey, why do I look like I'm 2'7" right now? Do I look, this looks a little silly. There we go. All right. There we go. Yeah. What we want to do is Mike Dillard, the CEO of Century, and Chris Rodriguez, the CEO of the GrowPro agency, and myself, you know, not the CEO of anything. I have a business partner, so I'm a managing 9 locations and oversee MAIA, the Martial Arts Industry Association. We're all very passionate about helping our industry. Our industry has made us who we are today and what we are today, and we love the industry. And if we can give you guys some free information and free action steps to help you grow, right? This specific webinar series happens to be on just how to boost retail very simply and very easily, but knowledge is forever. So once you have it, you're going to have this for the rest of your life in your martial arts industry long after these webinars are over. And we help to professionalize, we hope to even professionalize our industry even more and give you guys as martial artists the career you've only dreamed of. But not just you, your students who may want careers as well, right? So that's what we're here for. We appreciate your time, everybody, very much. Is there anything that Mr. Mike, you want to say, or Chris?
Chris, you go ahead now.
Yes, so I just want to show this to everybody. The amazing Brian Negron put together these assets for you guys. We've already uploaded them into the school platform. So these are built inside of Canva. So you'll have the private lesson graphic, the blocker seminar, the square hand target, and the weapons seminar. There's different sizes, poster, full page, half page. You just simply click on this and hit use template for new design. It'll pull it into your actual Canva account, and then all of this is editable. So if you want to swap out the photos, you want to change what it says, everything is editable. This is our gift to you, and you can access that now inside of the school classroom under assets. And then I've also had a bunch of people message me before the end of today. We'll get the recording of this up, and it'll be located inside of here. If you are not on the school platform, you're not going to be able to access any of this. So I'll drop the link in the chat, and please make sure you go inside. There's one more thing that we would like for you to do. We have this very, very simple Google form. This is just going to really give us an idea of where you're at in terms of how much you are currently spending on retail. It's going to ask your name, your school name, what your active count is, and how much on average each month you are spending on retail. And we're going to do another Google form at the end of this challenge. So if everybody could click on that link, I'll also upload that into the school platform if you want to do it later. But this is very important. Math is the path. We want to be making data-driven decisions, and this is going to give us a good understanding where everybody's at. So if you can take a minute to do that, that would be super helpful.
And one more thing, everybody. First of all, make sure you understood. She said how much you're spending on retail, not how much you're selling, because you know, if you're spending money, in theory, you should be doubling that in revenue, but we're not, because we give a lot of stuff away, right? So we want to know what you kind of spend each month. The other thing is we have an event coming up, everybody, in March, and we've never done this ever. But for non-elite schools. So if you're not in the My Elite program, and if you want to attend our All Systems Go event, March 28th and 29th, here in Orlando, Florida, Century Martial Arts is reimbursing you in the form of a Century credit the cost of the ticket to attend, which is $299, and Maya will credit you, or we will take care of one hotel night for you. So all you'd have to do is either drive here or fly here. You can get here on a Friday morning. We start like at noon on Friday. We're done by like 1 or 2 on Saturday. And so that's how much we believe in what we do. And if you want to register for that event, we will have information on that event March 28th and 9th. But basically it's $299. When you pay for that ticket and you show up and you go shake hands with Mr. Dillard or the Century team that will be there as well, they will credit your account that $299. And when you register, Maya will cover your one-night hotel. And that is like a, for non-Maya Elite people that want to come and just try out or see what this is all about and how it might help you grow your school. So March 28th and 29th at the Hilton Omni Buena Vista Palace near Disney Springs. But we have a room block, so don't try going and booking your room. We would have to do that for you. You'd have to register with us. And if we don't have that information or that link here now, we will get that link out to you, you know, for in our next session, because that was not the point here of this session, or we would have had it already and I would have had it up and I wouldn't have forgotten to even mention it. But just wanted to mention that for you. And until then, we will see everybody 1 week from today, same time, everyone. Thank you for your time today.
Mr. Metzger, do you want them to include the shipping fees in their retail spending in the Google form?
No. No.
All right. I think
Thank you,
now we are.
Thank you,
Yeah,
everybody.
now-
You
We
guys
appreciate you guys.
Take
We'll
care.
see you next week.
I'm gonna change things.